AI stocks have been all over the place this year as we are a little less than 50 days to our 2024 presidential election. I thought I would update you on AI stocks, and I want to take you down a seasonal view of AI stocks pre-election. So to give you guys an idea, I look at about 25 to 30 different AI stocks. All right, these are stocks that have something to do in either production of hardware, production of software, production of robotics, and in both the supply and services areas as well. So anything that has a relative amount of AI production or service in it is on my list. All right. Now, what do I do with that? Well, we can look at trends and we can look at contrarian ideas and we can look at volatility, but the core front of what I look at on AI, like every other stock, is seasonality. And so I start with the money calendar. So the money calendar, just a quick refresher, is a way that we look at all stocks, all of the most popular stocks out there, to see if there is a pattern within a certain time frame. So we're looking at time. We're not looking at price. We're looking at the best time to buy a stock, the best time to sell a stock. So I start with a calendar like this, and I'm looking for areas where we see a lot of green or a lot of red on the screen. And then I jump in that day and I look for opportunities during the day. I will look at things like, how long is that trade likely to last? All right. Is the end date relative to where we are today? I'll look at the accuracy. It's got to be at least 90%, but can also be as high as 100%, meaning that data that we're doing the look back on, has that pattern happened each and every year in 9 of the last 10 years. Or we're also looking at average trade profit, because it doesn't matter how great the pattern is. If you're only going to get pennies back, it's not worth doing. So we're going to look for average profits that are in dollars, not in cents. And then finally, we'll look at something called the power meter. Now, what the power meter does is it looks back over those 10-year time frames, and it finds those stocks that are having better and better patterns in those same time frames as we get closer to today. So was the pattern better last year than it was 10 years ago? And on average, if we see that, it gives us a positive power meter. So taking a look at AI stocks for the back half of September. The entire amount of September, September we looked at, short term was a bearish month. Medium term was so-so. Long term was mostly bullish. But when we looked at the AI stocks going out 40 to 60 days, this is what we found. Coming into today, there are only 5 stocks on my AI list that even flagged as patterns. So that meant that we had to have a pattern that happened over the last 10 years, and it had to be either bullish or bearish. Well, based on this chart that you see here to the right, the AI stocks we're looking at, not just in the last year since the words AI have been all over mainstream media, but over the last 10 years, there are 5 stocks that have bullish patterns heading forward from today. Now, of those 5, I sorted them out for you, and we've got AVGO, that's Broadcom, at the top. NASDAQ is in the second place. Then I've got Salesforce.com, Microsoft, and NVIDIA, which round out those top 5. I ranked those not by total number of trades sorted, not by days held, not by percentage return, although it looks like Broadcom has a really nice percentage return out here. That's over the life of the pattern, but average return we see. Broadcom has a nice average return, not as great as NVIDIA, but still double digit. Broadcom has the only one that was accurate for the last 10 years, 10 out of 10. But those were not the reasons that Broadcom went to the top. The reason Broadcom went to the top is because I sorted them by power meter. And if you notice, Broadcom and NASDAQ have positive power meters. Everything else below that are negatives. So even though Salesforce, Microsoft, and NVIDIA had 9 out of the last 10 years where these patterns made money starting today and moving forward in time, they just diminished on average in what they returned year after year. So we're going to focus on the ones at the top. And I thought I would focus on Broadcom. So let's take a look at Broadcom, as it has 6 trades, being held for 60 days moving forward between now and going into December. All right, so this is the pattern that got me excited. First of all, Broadcom, these 60 days held, has produced some massive returns. I mean, you look at 2014, and it shot out of the gate nearly 19%. Had a little bit of a pullback between the years 2015 and 2018, but then we took off again. But if you see this average move, it's telling us that over the 10-year lifespan, Broadcom has just pulled it out of the gate. Last year had a massive 22% move between now and going forward 60 days from now. So at that point, let's take a look at the chart that's happening right now. So here's Broadcom. What Broadcom has done is between the pullbacks in April until June, we saw a stock that went from 120 to about 185. That was a big, big move, but we also had a large pullback, which took us down to 130. I snapped this pullback to give us that 100% return off of this ABC correction. And that puts us right up here around 195.